All right, class, go ahead, everybody sit down and take out a couple pieces of paper and a pencil, and we're going to today we're going to learn about adding and subtracting fractions with the common denominator. Today we're starting our first portion of our fractions second here in the 5th grade. So, we're going to start off with the basic stuff and then we'll work up. We'll go next to adding and subtracting fractions with different denominators, then on to multiplication, and then on to division. But today we're going to start off with the basics, and that's adding and subtracting with common denominators. Now, so let's think about it this way. You want to make it, let's just say you want to make a cake for your mom's birthday. You want to be real nice and get some brownie points and make sure you get a good present this Christmas. So you decide you're going to make mom a cake. But the problem is you're looking at the back of the box, and the instructions for the cake call for 1 cup of flour. But the problem is you only have 1/3 of a cup. You only have a measuring cup that measures out to 1/3. I brought mine from home just to kind of demonstrate this. So you only have your measuring cup that measures out to a maximum of 1/3. We know that's not enough to make a whole cup, right? We know that's not enough to make a whole cup, okay? So you need to figure out how many times you need to fill up this 1/3 of measuring cup to create a whole cup. And this is adding and subtracting. This is adding fractions with common denominators, okay? Now we'll get back to this here. We'll get back to that question here at the end, but let's go ahead and start on something else, okay? Adding and subtracting fractions with like denominators can be very easy once you understand that the only value when you're adding and subtracting fractions with common denominators, the only thing that changes the numerator. Now, just so you guys can get refamiliarized, the numerator is the top number in a fraction. And I'm going to put an N and a D so you guys can see. So the numerator is always the top number, and the bottom number is always the denominator. So today we're focusing on just adding the top number and subtracting the top number, which you always do, but specifically today we're going to always have this. We're going to add together or subtract fractions together that only have the same denominator. It's going to be quite a bit easier. We'll go ahead and get started, okay? So, now let's say that you invite 2 of your best buddies over and you guys are going to have a pizza party where you guys are going to play a bunch of video games or maybe even watch a movie or 2. You convince your mom to order 3 pizzas, okay? Each pizza has 8 pieces in it, okay? So you have 3 pieces with 8 total pieces in them, in each pie, okay? So let's go ahead and figure out how many pieces you have. That's pretty easy because we know there's 8 in each, so it's just, I'll write it out and then I'll show it to you guys. All right, so I have a volunteer who thinks they know what we have. Oh, my mistake. I messed up on that. This 24 should be an 8. My mistake, guys. So how many pieces do we have total? Okay, we have 24. Very good. So we have 24 total pieces in these pies. And we have 24 total pieces. And just for the sake of keeping everything even, we're just going to bring the 8 over across, because that's what you always do. You add the common, leave the denominator the same. So we have 24 pieces amongst these pies, so which equals out to 3 pizzas, right? Okay, so now let's think about it this way. You and your friends are hungry. It's a long afternoon of playing video games and you eat a bunch of pieces. So, at the end of the day, you want to send your buddies home with some pizzas. So you count up how many pieces of pizza are left over. You notice that in the first pie, there's 2 pieces left over. Right here, 1, 2. In the second pie, there's 2 left over, 1, 2. And in the third, there's 3 pieces left over, okay? So we need to add these fractions together to figure out how many pieces we have left and how close we are to a whole pizza. So let's go ahead and add that up. We had 2 left over from the first pie. And I'll write this down and then I'll show it to you. And we had 2 left over from the second pie. And then the final pie had 3 pieces left over. Okay, so your problem should look like this in the black pen. So how about this? Let's just go ahead and work this together. I won't call for a volunteer. 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 plus 3 is 7. Right? Everyone agree? Everyone see? Good, good. So that means we have 7, and like we talked about earlier, you don't do anything with the denominators. As long as the denominators are the same number, you don't mess with them. Okay? We'll get into that on another day. So you have 7/8 of a pizza left. Not quite a whole pizza, because if it was 8/8, you would have a whole pizza left. But we are just under. So the way you could think about doing this, you want to send home your buddies with a couple of pieces of pizza, right? So you send home Tim with 2 pizzas, Johnny with 2 pieces, and then you have 3 left over for yourself, so you can finish out the rest of that video game and all that work you guys have been doing. Okay, everyone see that? Okay, so now let's try to do a different problem. Let's try to figure out how many pieces we ate total. So we know that there was 2 pieces left over of 8. 8 minus 2 is 6, right? So 6 over, everyone write this down, 6/8 plus, and the second pizza had 2 left over, so we ate 6 of those again. 6/8 plus, and then the final pizza, there was 3 pieces left over, so we ate 5 of them, right? Because 5 plus 3 equals 8. Okay, and then how many pieces did we eat? We know, just for the sake of this, we know that there was 24 total pieces, right? Because that's how many we started out as. So we just have 6 plus 6 plus 5, and what do we get there? 17, very good. I heard it in the back. So we ate 17 of a total of 24 pieces. All right? Good. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to address a few questions, and then we'll do a few more problems on the board. So I bet you guys are sitting there wondering, thinking to yourself, why didn't we add or subtract the denominators in any of those example problems? Well, when you're adding and subtracting fractions, you don't change the denominator. You only add or subtract the numerator. We talked about this a little bit earlier, but I want to make sure you guys understand this. Okay? Think of it in this way. When adding the number of leftover slices of pizza, the number of slices that make up a whole pizza never changes. We always knew that 8 pieces made 1 whole pizza. It will always be 8 slices that make a whole pizza. So you must remember, when adding or subtracting a fraction, the denominator never changes. Okay? So I've got a few more example problems that we're going to do together, and then we'll go ahead and we'll talk a little bit more, and then I got some online stuff I want you guys to do. So let's add, everyone follow along with me, 3/7 minus 2/7 equals. So go ahead and write that down. And just like even though we initially did an addition problem, this is subtraction. You just still subtract the numerator from the denominator, okay? You just subtract the 2 numbers in the numerator. So 3 minus 2, that's pretty simple, that's 1. And then we have 7, 1/7. Okay, very good, all right? Let's do a couple more, okay? Let's do 4/9 plus 2/9 equals, that one should be just like here. That one should be pretty simple. Everyone can see it. You count up from 4, 5, 6. So we have 6/9. Remember, the denominator, the bottom number, never changes. So we have 6/9. All right, well, I have a couple more that we're going to do, all right? So next one I want you guys to write down is 7/15 plus 5 over, oh, my mistake, 7/16 plus 5/16. And that equals, so 7 plus 5, that's pretty easy to see, that's 12/16, right? Okay, very good. All right, everyone see that? Everyone understand that? All right, now the last one is going to be a little bit more tricky. I want you to write 3/5 plus 4/5 equals. Okay? Well, everyone can see that 3 plus 4 equals 7, so we have 7/5. Now wait a second. The numerator is larger than the denominator. So what that means is we have a whole, right? Because we should know that 5/5 equals 1. So we have 1 whole, just like if there was only 5 pieces in a pizza, we would have 1 whole. So if you subtract, so what I would do is I would put a 1 out in front just like this, and then I would subtract 5 from the 7 to get you 2. So then we have 1 2/5. Now we'll go into this a little bit more in detail later on, but I just wanted to show you guys. This is called a mixed number, okay? It's a whole number with a fraction behind it. Now we'll talk about it more later on, but you guys get the general point. Once you get a number that's larger in the numerator than the denominator, you know you at least have 1 whole of the fraction, okay? So let's go ahead and we're going to go back and we're going to talk about the problem I presented at the beginning with the cup, okay? With you needing to get 1 cup and you only have a measuring cup of 1/3. So how many times do you need to fill up this measuring cup that measures out 1/3 of a cup to equal 1 cup? Well, we should know that's pretty easy. So it's just adding, so we need to do it once. Need to add 1/3 and 1/3 once, right? That equals 2/3. Okay, and so we're still 1 off, so let's add another one. And that equals 3/3. And just like we just got done talking about, once you have a numerator and a denominator that are the same number, or even a larger number, that means you at least have 1 whole number. So that equals 1. So you would take your measuring cup 3 times and add it together. So anyways, I want you guys to go ahead and pair off into groups of 2 and work on the computers. I have some online activities I want you guys to work with. It'll give you instant feedback, and go ahead and get started.